John Beverly, the Candyman, the businessman with a conscience, on LICMC.net radio every Saturday at 3 p.m.
Hello, everyone. This is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, here at the Kimalan Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we show that we care about the things that we do. And today, I would like to share just a little information. I'm spiritual as well as the businessman with a conscience. And I say that having a conscience, that means you think about things and you consider things in some cases, most cases, the way people act and the things that they do. And I was at a service on Sunday, and on the panel they was talking about some different things. And I often tell people, think about what you're doing before you do it, before you open up your mouth and say different things. Sometimes we can just take off rattling off at the mouth. But one of the subjects that they was talking about, and it was kind of funny to me, but one of the topics was you talk too much and you never shut up. You talk too much. And as I was listening to that, and they was talking about getting up, speaking up, and different things like that. And I thought about that, and that was one of the things that really kind of stood out to me because unfortunately, a lot of us find ourselves talking too much. And not that you don't ever shut up, but sometimes when you do shut up, it may be too late. So me personally, my father used to always tell me, John, and I would, wanted to voice my opinion, and he would always. And at the time, when you hear me talk about being young, and not that I thought I knew everything, but I thought I knew enough to get by and how to get my little hustle on, how to do what I needed to do. And I know directions and doing things that I thought I needed to do. And based upon that, I would, try to pretty much play everything by the rule. And I would let different people know. And, I used to call myself a hustler. So in doing my little hustling, even when I was working, I figured as long as I did things by the book, I really didn't have a problem. But in some cases, even when you're doing things by the book, following the directions, following the orders of the people that's giving the orders, sometimes you can get caught up. And when the people that's paying you, you hear people talk about subjects and things are subject to change. Sometimes when you working for other people, they make the changes when they get ready to make them, and they pretty much make them to conversate or to make things flow in the order in the direction that they want them to flow in. And like I say, I pretty much did things by the book, and it got to the point where I was thought I was dotting the I's and crossing the T's and putting periods and question marks and everything in order that it was supposed to be in. But everybody don't play fair. So in not playing fair, sometimes they would change the rules on me and I get caught up. But if you so busy talking, you can't listen. And a lot of times you won't find and see when things has been changed because you're not paying a whole lot of attention. So by thinking about all of that and taking all of those different things into consideration, I began to listen to my father because there was a whole lot of times I realized and found out that if I would have just listen to him and my mother. Back then, there was a whole lot of whoopings I wouldn't have got. There was a lot of head bumps I wouldn't have got. I would have not made a whole lot of mistakes that I made because I was too busy doing what you call me. So, because you hear people today talking about, I do me, I do me. Sometimes doing you is not the best thing to do. Sometimes you have to consider other people when you're trying to do you. And I would always, and even now, I tell people, I hear you, but just let me be me or just let me do me. But I found out that cooperation makes good business, and then you also have to take the time out and listen to people. But we so busy, we know everything, and I found that even in talking with different people, trying to explain myself, sometimes I just have to shut up and listen. And sometimes it's good, bad, or different. Regardless, sometimes you can be right. It don't mean you're wrong, but you can be right. But there are people that just talk, 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 and everything you start a subject and they just takes over, running off at the mouth. Just they know everything. You can't tell them nothing. You could be trying to give them some good advice, and let them know. Say, look, hold it, because if you go down this road, right down the street there, there's a hole caved in, and if you go before you could finish telling them, they want to jump in and tell you everything that need be or what they think it is, and get right out there and go running right down the road and fall in the hole. But if they would have just took the time out and shut their mouths and listened to what you had to say, they wouldn't have fell in that hole in the road. They wouldn't have bumped their head. They wouldn't have went through the changes that they went through, because if they would have listened, they would have knew that they had to take another route or go another direction or something of that sort. But my father would always tell me, John, shh, just listen. And if you listen, pay attention, just watch, and then make a decision. And the decisions that you always want to make is not the decision that's good to you. The decision that you want to be able to make is the decision that's what's good for you. You often hear me talk about that, and I talks about it because, from experience, I have run into some brick walls. I have run into a whole lot of problems by not listening. Uh, in making those decisions has sometimes cost me. The mistakes can be costly sometimes. Can it can be a mistake if you make the right decision. Sometimes it won't cost you as much, but if you make the wrong decision, it may end up costing you more than you really needed to spend sometimes, or the effort that you have to work even harder. Sometimes by not listening, you have to end up working a lot harder than you would have if you would have just listened to somebody that was trying to tell you an easy way, a better way that you can do something. And we, like I often, tell people about the young people today, they know everything. I mean, you can't tell them nothing. They just know, they know how to do this, they know how to do that. You just old. I mean, how do you think we live to get this old? There are people that's older than I am, and they're still listening. I tell people right now today that I am still learning, and I am. When little children's come in here, babies come in here, I watch the little things that they do, and they are amazing. And some of them will listen to you. Some of them you be trying to tell, and no matter what you're trying to do and tell them, but you always going to have somebody in the bunch. That's why I want to talk a little bit and just make mention today about think about it. You talk too much. You never want to shut up. You talk too much. Take the time out and listen. Excuse me. You learn more by listening, because if you knew everything, why are you still here trying to do something? Why are you still trying to make something happen? So what I find myself doing is when people come in here, I listen to them. I listen to them talk. I listen to what they're talking about. And sometimes some of the stuff I know, but in a lot of cases, a lot of the stuff that they're talking about, I don't know. And then what my father used to also tell me, say, if they're talking about something today that may not benefit you or may not do any good, just put it on the shelf. And then when the time comes, when what they was talking about yesterday or last week might relate to something that you're trying to do today, so then you pick that up and you use it, or you remember what they was talking about and say, oh, I remember this person said this in particular about doing something. So let me apply what I heard at that point in time. Let's not be so fast to just always want to tell somebody something. Everybody want to be a boss. I mean, that's fine, a title, but titles don't mean nothing. Uh, to me, it just means you're a bigger flunky. I tell people I'm a servant. I don't, there's no little eyes and big U's or big U's and little eyes and all that kind of stuff. I treat people the way I want to be treated. In particular, in the church, I hold the title as a deacon. But the bottom line is, I'm just a servant, and we all should be just a servant. We should all be trying to figure out what can we do to help someone. That person that's talking so much, let's try to figure out how can we get through to those kind of people and get them to understand. Hello, everyone. This is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience. I want you to tune in to licmc.net radio every Saturday at 3 o'clock p.m. Also, watch Comcast Xfinity every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Also, with my friends at the Alculine Village. My newest news is I have a channel on stream.com/London TV Net. 24/7 live streamed TV networks. The name of my station is John B. TV. And remember, this is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, where people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And thank you guys for listening. And I apologize for the interruptions that we had. Hopefully, I said something that would help someone. And when you run across those people that you find that's talking too much, sometimes just listen to them. And then by listening to them, you might even learn something from them. You learn not to talk as much yourself because you can see the mistakes that they made. And I have been able to, in some cases, watch other people make mistakes and learn not to make those same mistakes myself. So, on that note, like I say, I just try to be careful and watch. And let's learn how to love on one another, pray for one another, consider each other as well as ourselves. And remember, each one teach one, each one reach one, each one teach one. One brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we show that by the things that we do, the information that we try to share with one another. So let's remember to love on one another, to appreciate each other, to lift one another up in these days. Because so much is going on. This election is going on. Let's pray for everybody, the president, Israel, all these other people. It's just so much is going on there. Weather, these different storms and things, how it's affecting everybody. So let's take all of those people into consideration as well as ourselves, because we have a tendency to look at things and realize what we are going through. But there's always somebody that's going through something worse than you. So thank you for listening and have a great day.
John Beverly, the Candyman, the businessman with a conscience. John Beverly, the Candyman, the businessman with a conscience, on LICMC.net radio every Saturday at 3 p.m.